I need to find my stupid brother. Have you seen him?
Yes, can't talk now. I must get the last copy of the new Itchy and Scratchy Adventures comic. It's the controversial issue in which they finally kiss. Assist me, and I will aid you with your dilemma.
Hey there, folks. Welcome back to The Simpsons Hit and Run. I wanted you to sit through that little bit just so I didn't accidentally talk over that very funny line of, it's a very controversial issue where they finally kiss. I'm a big fan of that line. It made me laugh very hard when I first played this game. It also makes me think of Crazy Cat, the old comics, which have Crazy Cat and I'm forgetting the mouse's name, but yeah, they're like in love, but it's like Tom and Jerry, but they love each other. I mean, some Tom and Jerry shorts have kind of played up that angle that Tom and Jerry secretly love each other, but I think it's actually funnier if they just have like murderous, hateful rage for each other, you know what I mean? Anyway, this first mission in the Lisa level here is pretty inconsequential for the most part. You're basically just doing this for the comic book nerd so that he will tell you something. But it's another excuse to talk to him, and I've already said that I like him as a character, so I have no problem with that.
I need full impulse power! Well, that just got a little more rare.
I hope those were recyclable.
Anyway, yeah, hi everyone. I hope everyone is having a good Tuesday. It's gonna be like early evening by the time I get this video actually up, but, yeah. I've had an okay day. I went to work, I watched a movie, and now I'm doing this. That's how most of these days go.
Bart, I asked you, have you seen him?
I think I saw him at the Noiseland Arcade. Ugh, video games were a waste of money. Now to go online and bid $1,000 for Itchy and Scratchy corncob holders. A terrific expense.
I am the Lizard Queen!
Okay, so yeah, we could drive to the Noiseland Arcade, and we certainly are going to drive by the Noiseland Arcade, but we're not going to talk to Milhouse for a little while, because I decided that I think the rhythm I am going to do for these levels is do maybe the, introductory mission to each level, or maybe the first couple, and then kind of just let myself get all my exploring out of the way. Obviously, it results in, repeating doing things, like going different places, but you have to go to the same places a million times in this game anyway, so it's not a big deal. And just so I do, because otherwise I, get distracted while I'm doing the missions or on the way to missions, and it just kind of makes the videos harder to edit. I kind of like just, give you a taste of what the level's gonna be like, then just look for all the optional shit that I feel like, not getting all of it, but just going around and whatever I, is whatever I notice and is reasonable to spend time doing. Yeah, and then just do a straight shot. So this video is going to be mostly, I don't know why you can't jump on there. That confused me. This is going to be mostly the former. I'm going to be doing a lot of walking around. It's not completely unedited, don't worry, but yeah, just showing the place. By pretty much the end of the next level, you will have seen most of the areas that this game has. That's all of Springfield. It kind of, repeats a few times, but yeah. And I believe there's even repeats of where different, Wasp cameras and shit are. Certainly the, the, vending machines? Yeah. Anyway, this is Camp Crusty. it's very difficult to get. You can only get back in that little ring of rocks from that little narrow path, I found out. And I did not know that this... I forgot what this did. I thought it was going to be an epic joke. But no, it spills you down all the way at the bottom of the mountain, and I left my fucking car up there, so I had to walk all the way back. And there are only a handful of interesting things to do on the way back there, so I felt a little silly. Also, I think I missed a wasp camera. I think one shows up right around that pipe, but it didn't there for some reason. But, oh well. Anyway, like I said, I hope you're all having a lovely day. I am just sitting here, hanging out. As always, I'm sipping on a ginger ale. Well, not as always. As most of you know, I partake in a number of different beverages during my various videos and streams and so forth. This is the Observatory, which we're going to be headed back to very soon, toward the end of this video, to get one of our missions. But there's also this thing here, which I wanted to get. And this is just, back on the way to my car at Camp Crusty. And we're going to have to come back here very shortly as well. So yeah, like I said, it kind of, get ahead of yourself when you do this exploring before doing most of the mission stuff, but it's whatever. It's kind of what I do with games most of the time anyway, like, because I don't want to... I like to try to get as much as I can the first time, so, I really like... my first run through a level is of most games, especially games like this, where it's like 3D platformers where you can collect stuff. I spend a lot of time just looking around for that stuff. If it's within if it's one of those games where, like, it's like a bunch of different, like, missions. Like, if you didn't have to get, if there weren't, like, the wasp cameras and the trading cards in this game, but it was just the bonus missions and the races, I don't know if I would necessarily go out of my way to do all the races every time. Because that's, like, I don't know. It's weird, because this, like, doing collectathon shit is, like, way more time-consuming for the most part. Unless you're really bad at the races like I am and have to do them a lot. But, I don't know. It's just, like, it's more my thing to just, like, run around and find stuff. I've wanted to make my own 3D platformer forever. But I don't know how to make video games. And I don't have any, like, specific unique idea for, like, what the platformer would be, or any sort of, like, gameplay concept that would make it interesting or different than just any other one. I would basically just want to make your average 3D action platformer, but just I come up with the levels and the collectibles. So... if anybody has any actual talent and is interested in that, maybe that will... I don't know. Like I said, I have no actual idea. It's just like a kind of thing that I want to do in the abstract. Also, I like how in this little TV studio, if you kick these cameras, they count toward your hit and run thing. I didn't notice until I started the playthrough for this Let's Play that your hit and run level is also, like, if you hit, like, mailboxes and lampposts and shit, that also goes toward it. I thought it was just if you run over people. But yeah, you can see the meters going up even though you're just kicking it, which I think is kind of funny. Speaking of basic 3D platformers, I should try the Simpsons game that is just called the Simpsons Game, which I think was the last one that they made, other than all the, like, mobile games and shit. And that was in, like, 2007, and because that's just a straight 3D platformer, and that's, like, kind of what I want a lot of the time when I'm playing this. Don't get me wrong, I love all the driving stuff, and this is a very fun game, and like, a unique sort of entry in the popular licensed games from this era, sort of milieu that occupy most of my YouTube channel. But, whenever I'm doing this stuff that you're watching right here, I'm like, it would be cool to be playing in the Simpsons world, playing as Simpsons characters, doing stuff like this, fighting enemies and collecting stuff, except, like, it's a game that's about that instead of this being all the, like, optional side stuff. So there would be, like, some actual stuff to it, you know what I mean? And theoretically, that's what the Simpsons game is, so I am definitely interested in trying that one out. Maybe that'll be a thing for a stream or something.
Ooh, I should sell this on the net.
I should sell this on the net. I think even in 2003, calling it the net was dated. I don't know. I never knew anyone who called it the net, and I don't know if I'm the first generation to really grow up with the internet, but I'm certainly among them. I feel like the earliest... To say, like, you grew up with it as in, like, it was around the whole time you were a child, I think the earliest you can have been born is, like, very late 80s, like 1990. I don't know. Where you had, like, the World Wide Web. I don't know if you were using fucking DARPANET or whatever. I don't know, I guess people, or, you went to Stanford or something. Anyway, so a fun thing that has been on my mind, and that people have been talking about because it is a Marvel movie, and that is one of, that means it's one of the 4 movies that comes out this year that people will actually go to the theater to see. Well, you already know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about Doctor Strange 2. Which I, like a good little piggy who consumes all of the movies that come out that are, that the mouse provides us with, the slop. I went out and I saw it, and I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself more than I have in a Marvel movie in a long time. Probably since, like Guardians 2. That was the last one that really stuck out to me as, like, this is something kind of different than the typical Marvel fare. Not that, it's that different, but just that, there's some style to it, and there's, like, some actual cool, fun things going on. It's not all just, cameos and making references to TV shows and future plot lines and setting up other movies and shit, which, like, pretty much all of them are like that now, and there's definitely, a good amount of that in Doctor Strange, and those are all the worst parts of the movie, where it has to slow down to do all the obligatory MCU bullshit, and the fact that most of its, but not all of its emotional moments are, cut down by the sort of smirking, just, that the Marvel humor where, they undercut every moment with some kind of gag. But this one, they let Raimi to, within, his styles comes through on a mostly, like, surface level, but even that is, like, a good, like, gut check for the Marvel movies, stylistically, I would say. And I think the majority of the movie is pretty fun. And when, Raimi especially, the music fight, I'm not really spoiling much, the music fight and just, like, the kills in general, they're a little bit meaner, they're a little bit nastier than your typical Marvel stuff, although I do not agree with the sentiment that has been going around with some that the movie really pushes the limits of the PG-13 rating. It's still a pretty tame movie. I mean, I would take, like, a, 10 or 12-year-old to see that movie. It's not that big of a fucking deal. If they've seen other Marvel movies. But, I mean, yeah, there's like there's a gross part with a big eyeball. Like, I don't know. But, anyway, I like this thing. Planet Hype, the text on this, and just this thing in general, reminds me of Chum World from Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Kind of funny. This is a pain in the ass. You have to go around if you fall off of this thing, and I decided to try to be dumb and do this, and then I just fell down on the beach, so whoopsie. Yeah, got a little fricked up there. We had a strange encounter when we got to the movie, though. I really have to stop being late to movies. I think that having reserved seating has turned me into, like, a movie bitch, where I'm just like, oh, well, there's gonna be 30 minutes of previews, so we can leave. Like, I don't know. I also just underestimate the amount of time it'll take both to get to the theater and to actually, like, get into the theater. I don't know why. There always seems to be some fucking problem. Like, when we went to see Doctor Strange, it was raining like crazy. Then we had to park, and then we were in line, and then we found out we didn't have to be in line. So anyway, we came in, like, right as the previews were ending, and the movie was starting. And I bought reserved seats. This is like a big theater, and the seats are very tightly packed. It's not a theater we normally go to. It's a very nice theater, but yeah, their big auditoriums have like really tightly packed seats, and they don't have the like cool reclining ones that everywhere does now. But I got them in, you know, the place in the theater that is my favorite, which is in the very back in the middle. And we got up there, and there, you know, it was a full house. There were a bunch of people there, and there were 2 seats, but they were on either side of 2 sets of 2 people. And so I was trying to ask if they could move down so that we could sit there, because those were our seats, and I had on my phone the seats, and instead 2 of them said they were going to get out and move down. And so they asked us to move so we could do that. And, long story short, I was not trying to be a dickhead. I was not trying to get them to move to the very front. And I don't think they ended up doing that, because there were other, like, perfectly fine seats up ahead. And in hindsight, I should have just, you know, if I had noticed them beforehand, I would have just sat in there and not even bothered those people. But they were not happy, and I don't know. I hope they still enjoyed the movie and I didn't ruin it for them. I hate doing shit like that. I mean, I know it's like whatever, I got the seats, but I also maybe should have like planned ahead and gotten to the movie on time, because I actually I was hoping to try to get there on time this time, because this was one of the few times I actually wanted to be there for the previews, because I wanted to see the fucking Avatar 2 trailer in theaters. And, yeah, I fucked myself. So, good job, me. I've another amazing social interaction for Tim in the books. So, yeah, that. But other than that, the movie was fun. All the obligatory MCU shit was dumb. I'm not really gonna talk about like the story or whatever. And yeah, I like this car. I wanted everyone to get a good look at it. It looks like I'm like selecting my car at Midnight Club or something. Anyway, on to an actual mission. We've had a lot of time of dicking around and kicking wasps. Now it's time for business.
2 dry toppings or 1 wet topping? Bart's disappeared. You have to help me find him. Well, he might be at Wally Weasel's. He likes the smell of the ball cage. Let's just do this thing.
So, to spoil this mission a bit, so that I can talk over it, Milhouse has given us the old runaround. This is one of those kind of annoying missions where they just kind of send you to a bunch of different places for no reason. Not something that's particularly unique to this game, but yeah. So, on the topic of Avatar 2, though, I did see the trailer, not in theaters like I wanted to, although I'm sure I'll have plenty of opportunities to see it again, to see it in theaters. I instead watched it in shitty quality on Twitter on my phone at work, which is how James Cameron intended it, I'm sure. I am excited for The Way of Water. I'm going to still refer to it as Avatar 2. I called it Doctor Strange 2 and not Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, or MOM, as some people have been calling it, MOM for multiverse, which I think is funny. But yeah, I am excited for Avatar 2. I am not like the biggest fan of Avatar or anything. I do think it's a good movie. It is one that is, mostly I'm interested in it for its visual and technical elements. I don't think the story is bad. It's certainly simple and not, in its broad strokes, not particularly, new or groundbreaking. But as I've said before, I think I've already talked about Avatar a little bit. That is not, weird for big blockbusters for most stuff. I don't know. It's funny to me to hear for instance Marvel fans say oh, who cares about Avatar 2? Avatar was a story we've seen a million times, and it's and what are Marvel movies? I understand that the individual the plot details are different, but I mean it mostly comes down to the same stuff for the most part in those movies. That's why I'm always surprised. I always don't get why people get so hung up about spoilers with those movies. They seem to pretty much know what they're getting most of the time. But whatever. Also, nothing matters in those movies, especially with the multiverse shit. They've established that everyone, can come back to life, or there can be some other version of them, or, they can go to the past, or whatever. You never need to worry about, never seeing someone again in these movies, or, anything having any sort of permanence. So I don't know. It's just or finality. So I don't know. I can't relate to the feeling of not wanting to be spoiled as to where it goes. At the end of the day, really, the only thing that they are asking people not to spoil is what characters show up, and not even necessarily what they do. But yeah. The only one that was of some substance was Iron Man dying in Avengers Endgame. But honestly, I kind of fucking figured that was gonna happen. Mostly just because it felt like Robert Downey Jr. was peacing out. Doesn't mean he will, I'm sure at some point, probably toward the end of Phase 4, whenever that is. Because I will admit, I don't know what this is building to, for the exact reason that we are now past the, closest thing to a finale, Avengers Endgame, that we've had. And it, it didn't really culminate in much of anything, story-wise or thematically or whatnot, so, other than Iron Man dying. I just don't know, and now we have this multiverse thing, and I don't really know where they're gonna go except for just, endless exploitation of the franchise, which is basically what they're setting up. So, that's cool, I guess. I don't know. Now, Avatar 2, on the other hand, is a movie that cost $500 billion to make and took 13 years to make because James Cameron had to invent new technology to film motion capture performances underwater in a big tank that simulated ocean currents made specifically for the film to make the long-awaited, some people, certainly by James Cameron, the long-awaited sequel to his Atlantis 2099 Waterworld Pocahontas Last Samurai movie. I'm doing this joke because it's the joke that everyone does about Avatar for like 10 years. Every shitty YouTube film reviewer has already made the point that, ooh, it dances with wolves, ooh, they are blue, and, you know, oh, no one remembers the person's name, you know, shit like that. It had no cultural impact, which is the dumbest one. All that really means is that it wasn't, you know, we didn't get 90 fucking Disney Plus shows about it. Well, not yet, at least. Yeah. Anyway. And again, I'm not even, like, a big Avatar head. I just think it's, like, cool. And I think it's nice that, you know, this is... I think we should be more excited about a movie of this magnitude and that looks this nice. I think that like Vice article that was saying the VFX in this movie already look dated. That is fucking cap. That is bullshit. You can't, like. I will be the first to say, yes, there are certainly diminishing returns as to the photorealism of computer graphics, where they're, you know, for instance, the gulf between the computer animation in 2009 and 2019 is not as large as 1999 versus 2009, I would say. But even then, like, you know, outside of, like, the fidelity or quote-unquote realism of the actual computer-generated imagery, it looks, as a movie, nice. I happen to enjoy that it looks like a point-and-click adventure game. I think the video gaminess is not intentional or off-putting to me, necessarily. I think knowing, you know, James Cameron's fascination with digital cinematography, I think he very much is, you know, I don't know. Especially that this is going to be released in, like, fucking 1000 FPS or whatever. I think, you know, the hyper-reality is something that will work to the film's benefit, not against it. Sight unseen. I mean, I'm going off a minute-and-a-half trailer. I know as much about the movie as any of you do, but I'm just saying I'm excited for it, and I think that the people who are still doing the thing where you're like, oh, it's cool to think that Avatar sucks, is kind of lame. I'm kind of over it. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm just saying I think it's performative for most people. It's like the way that people say that all M. Night Shyamalan movies are bad. It's like, I feel like if you were really honest with yourself and watch these, like, again, you can feel however you want about them. I'm not saying you can't think that genuinely. I just think that for most people, you know, they haven't really actually engaged honestly with all of M. Night's work and are instead just repeating the thing that was, you know, a joke on Reddit that became common cultural knowledge, or, you know, common opinion. But that's just me. I don't mean to be a little fucking bitch about things. I don't know, whatever. This is now the second video that I've spent defending Avatar, a movie that I gave 3 stars on Letterboxd. Anyway, we have to get the school bus, so that we can bash up a car. The school bus is very fun. So we will be doing that and doing the vast majority of the missions for the Lisa level next time. See you then for that.